Is week 10 of the NFL season. Who should you be considering streaming from the team defense perspective? Let's talk about that. Hello, everyone. It is me, yet again, Matt Record here with IDP Plus to talk to you about which team defenses you should consider streaming in this ever important week 10 of the NFL and fantasy season. Let's get right to it. So, for those of you that are new here, welcome. To be considered a streaming option, I classify that as a team defense that is rostered in 50% or fewer of leagues. So, they are available for you to pick up right away from the waiver wire and start in this very, very important week 10 of the NFL season as we are getting really close to the playoffs. So here are my top 4 considerations here for you. Let's start with number 1 here in the Cleveland Browns. So they are the 11th ranked overall team defense from a scoring perspective this year already. They are coming off of a bye, which I think indicates or can be part of the reason why they're only rostered in 29.6% of leagues. A lot of folks like to drop team defenses and only have one to play this waiver wire game that we're talking about right here. So the Browns obviously have Myles Garrett, so have the potential of getting just a whole bunch of sacks each and every week, which is very helpful. So who do they have? Who have they had 2 weeks to gear up for? Well, that would be the lowly New York Jets. The Jets also on a bye this week, but the Jets aren't a scary team on offense. In fact, by the time that the Browns play the Jets, they might have traded away some of their best players here as they're sort of selling off before the trade deadline. So as of the recording of this, none of that has happened. But even if none of those players are going away, like your Breece Halls of the world, the Browns defense is still one that is well worthy of a start here. Again, you have Myles Garrett attacking whoever quarterback is actually starting for the Jets this week. The Jets are bereft of talent. Otherwise, you can do far worse than starting the Browns here in week 10. Going to the next team defense you should consider, that would be the Buffalo Bills. So the Bills just put I'll say a thwomp. It's not really a thwomping, but they had a really nice game against the Kansas City Chiefs, holding them to only 21 points. They did rack up 3 sacks, 5 tackles for losses, 5 passes defended, and 15 QB hits. They were all up in Patrick Mahomes' face all game. Which is great to see. I mean, obviously the Chiefs had figured things out on offense, so the Bills being able to rally and shut down the Chiefs for the most part is pretty huge. The Bills are ranked 15th overall in terms of team scoring thus far and are rostered in only 36.4% of leagues. So who do they have coming up in Week 10? Well, that would be the Miami Dolphins, who are the 8th best team for your team defense to be playing this year. The Bills are on the right track. They seemingly have figured things out from their mid-season swoon. The Dolphins are clearly going in the opposite direction. The losing to the Ravens 28-6 on Thursday Night Football this last week. The Dolphins are a dumpster fire. They are maybe the worst team in the league going against the Bills, who have seemingly recaptured some of the magic that they've historically had. So yes, I think the Bills might be my number 1 team streaming option this week. It's pretty close with the Browns, but the Bills should be in a great spot to deliver for you again in this very important week 10. Moving right along, we have the Panthers, the 17th highest scoring team defense thus far in 2025, only rostered in 4.4% of leagues, which makes some sense. What doesn't really make sense is the fact that the Panthers beat the Green Bay Packers this week. I was actually at that game. What the Panthers were doing on defense was pretty near incredible. Unbelievable, actually, with the Packers offense boasting so many weapons. But the Panthers really shut them down in the Packers home game. So the Panthers, they're on the right track. And who do they play? They play the Saints. They play the Saints in week 10, who are the 5th best team for your team defense to be playing. Not much more to say than the Panthers have a solid defense. The Saints have a real bad offense, starting a rookie quarterback. The Panthers are available in they are only rostered in 4.4% of leagues, so they are wildly available everywhere. The Saints have a propensity for turning the ball over and not putting up too many points. They are also a team that might be trading away a whole bunch of people. Even if they don't, the Panthers are a great option. But if they do, the Panthers are an even better option. Now, I would not consider the Panthers a necessarily top 10 play of the week, but top 12, top 15. If you're playing that waiver wire game, I think the Panthers can fill in for you rather nicely in week 10. And finally, the other half of the Browns-Jets game. I keep saying the Jets might be a sneaky play, and I'll continue with that this week. The Jets are 30th overall. They're rostered in 9% of leagues, but they're playing the Browns. The implied total here, as of right now, the over-under, I think is 30. Yep, it's 37.5. So no one's really expecting to score big in this game. I feel like both defenses are worthy of starting. You can look at this game in the fourth quarter. It might be 14-10. Just ugly with turnovers and sacks and all the like. I like the Jets here as that team defense. Again, the 37.5 points, no one's going to be scoring. It's going to be a gross game from a watching NFL perspective. One of those, someone has to win. So the 2-6 Browns or the 1-7 Jets, someone has to win. But we can all be winning from a fantasy perspective when you're playing those team defenses. So just a summary of the team defenses I think are warranting your consideration for starting in the streaming perspective in week 10. Number 1A, the Browns going against the lowly Jets. Why the Browns are up there and higher than the Jets? The Browns have Myles Garrett, and that helps everyone from a fantasy perspective. A very close 1B would be the Buffalo Bills. You could maybe make the argument for them to be 1A, but the Bills are playing the Dolphins. The Bills coming off shutting down the Chiefs. The Dolphins are shipping everyone out and are just one of the worst teams in the league, so Bills are great. The Panthers just shut down the Packers, so why can't they shut down the Saints? Great question. They should be able to score just fine for you this week. And then finally, the other half of the Jets-Browns. In the Jets, going to be able to shut down whomever the Browns throw out a quarterback in that entire offense, who's, not looking too hot. All right, let's switch over to some of the team defenses I think you should potentially avoid this week. Now, if you have been riding them all year and you want to keep riding with them, great. But, buyer beware. So first is my team, the New England Patriots. They are the first overall high-scoring team defense this year. They've had the easiest schedule by far, and they will continue to have the easiest schedule the rest of the year. However, there are a couple of games that we should be a little bit worried about. This is one of them. The Buccaneers. The Patriots are going on the road to the Bucs, who are coming off of a bye. Hopefully are getting a little more healthy from an offensive perspective. They're in Tampa Bay. It's just hard going against Baker Mayfield and that high-powered offense, regardless of the injury status of everyone on that team. Again, they had a bye, so they should be getting healthier. They've been able to, game plan against a very susceptible Patriots defense from a yards perspective. Just the Patriots keep getting a bunch of turnovers, keep scoring in that way, which is why they're first overall. But I do think this is one of those games where everything's been going right for the Patriots thus far. We're playing against the toughest team that they've had to play all year in the Bucs from an offensive perspective. Because remember when they played the Bills, the Bills were in their little swoon. So I can see this game being 28-21, potentially Buccaneers either way, and not really being the best defensive start there for the Pats. So buyer beware with them. Hopefully I am wrong from my own personal team allegiances wise. Team number 2, a team that is hard not to start, but the Philadelphia Eagles. They are the 11th best team defense thus far this year. They are playing the Packers, who absolutely sucked this week against the Panthers. But on the whole, the Packers are still the 6th worst team for your team defense to face. They're chock-a-block full of weapons. They're getting healthier. They did just lose Tucker Kraft, which is unfortunate. So that's something. But, they did just get Christian Watson back. I don't know. The Packers, I feel like they might have been looking ahead to this game over the Panthers. The Packers were 12.5-point favorites. To outright lose is kind of crazy, embarrassing. They're going to be dialed in and ready to go against the NFC, not just the NFC champions of last year, but the Super Bowl champions of last year in the Eagles. I could see this being a high-scoring game. Don't love the Eagles' defense here. Just don't love it. I think you can do better elsewhere. And the final team defense that I would consider not playing would be the Steelers, who are currently the 13th highest scoring team defense this year. So borderline every week starter if you've started them every week in your pretty standard 12-team leagues. They're playing the Chargers, who are the 14th worst team. The 14th worst team for your team defense to play. The Steelers, I don't know. Peyton Wilson had some really nice plays this last week. The team still has obviously the ability to get after the passer there with their pass rush, but the Chargers have been on one. They feel like they're really well coached and can scheme away from those big plays and from turning the ball over. So I don't love the Steelers this week. So you probably shouldn't either. So again, in summary, team defenses to avoid: Patriots, Eagles, Steelers. There's a lot of really great matchups this week, and these aren't them. So avoid them where you can. All right, that is my Week 10 team defense streaming IDP Plus pod. Get in the comments if you have any questions or need any specific advice. But again, my name is Matt Record here with IDP Plus. I hope that your teams are crushing it and you're getting ready for that playoff push coming in a few weeks, and we're happy to help you get there. See you next week.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.